Hey, welcome to Screenplay Junkie. My name's Drew Hellmich, and I love screenwriting and everything there is about movies. But before anything makes it to the screen, it always begins with text on paper. So if you're a fellow addict of film and storytelling, join my brothers, Matt and Bryan, and I as we take a look at various types of screenplays, short stories, and other source material that were crucial to the creation of the stories we all love. There will be spoilers, though, so I do recommend being familiar with the title that's being discussed. Sound good? All right, then let's get started. Fellow story addicts to Screenplay Junkie episode 48. Drew, Matt, Bryan here.
Hello.
Hi.
It's great to be back.
Matt hasn't
back
said.
to talk to you guys again because we are completely silent with one another until episodes. So.
Well, Matt's taking a vow of silence, I think, right now, like Antonio Banderas in that one movie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you broke
not anymore.
It.
Well,
okay.
I mean, you started talking about Antonio Banderas, and I couldn't help myself. It's like,
yeah.
That movie's called, like, Silence, or Vow of Silence. Act of Vengeance. Act of Vengeance.
There it is.
What a great gig as an actor. Just, hey, we want to hire you. You don't even have to talk. Just stand there.
You still got to act. I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah. I mean, actions do speak louder than words, right?
Yeah,
this
they
is
do.
True.
Maybe that was the theme of that movie.
I think it was the log line.
Wait, really? Yeah.
No, I don't know.
It probably was. All right, we're not talking about Antonio Banderas, though.
No.
Not today.
No.
Maybe another time.
But today we got Midsommar, and unfortunately for us, as we record this, it is not Midsommar. We're in the heart of a blistering February winter.
It's cold out there. It is cold outside.
Yeah, today out here in Iowa City was probably the coldest day so far since I've been back. It was pretty brutal out there.
What temp, man? What temperature?
I think I was walking to lecture today, and it was right around like 2 degrees, and then plus wind chill, definitely in the negatives.
Awful. That's horrible. Well,
yeah.
Since it's so cold outside, how about we warm up Screenplay Junkie here with a little game, okay? Before we get into this episode, I got a game for you guys.
Okay.
I call it the... You hate it? What are you going to play anyways? Your opinion is undervalued and not considered in this game. This game's called the ology game. The ology game. So you're going to guess which... I'm going to say an ology, and you got to guess like what it's the study of.
And what? Okay. And we're doing this because it's a warm-up, or is there any other reasons?
Well, the last ology, it's going to relate to the movie. Okay.
I got you.
It's going to be... That ology is going to make sense for the movie.
Okay.
Which is Midsommer. Okay, so the first ology, agristology. Bryan, Drew, what do you think? Agristology.
Definitely agriculture, the study of plants and growing things.
Okay, Drew?
I mean, yeah, I was thinking that too.
It's the study of grasses. So you're onto something there.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about the root words, man.
I'd say 1 for 1, Drew. We're 1 for 1.
Perfect.
All right, next one, glaciology.
I'm gonna have to go with something with glaciers.
Ice, yes.
Yeah,
the ice.
It's the study of glaciers. Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, I threw in a couple. I had to throw in some easy ones here.
Okay, for sure.
I had to throw in some easy ones.
All right.
Cynology.
Ooh, study of signs?
Okay, I like where your head's at, Bryan. It's spelled C-Y-N-O, logy. Not S-I-G-N. Cynology, what do you think?
I don't know.
I think
no
of
idea.
science.
That's not an acceptable answer.
All right.
Bryan?
I'm just going to throw out the first thing that comes to my mind. So your sinuses, this is completely incorrect.
Okay.
But
Bryan, what do you think?
I thought of like cyan, like the color. So study of colors.
Well, you're wrong. It's the study of dogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the study of dogs.
Oh, wow.
No idea why. All right, planktology. What do you think?
Planktology.
Plankton.
Study of plankton. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yes, definitely.
You guys sprinkle in the easy ones. I got to make you guys feel good about yourselves a little bit. All right.
Well, the first thing that came to mind was Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Nice.
Basically plankton.
Yeah.
All right, next one, rhinology.
Rhinoceroses. Definitely.
That's what I thought too. It's a study of noses.
Okay. Oh yeah, I wouldn't.
Study of like your nose. Rhinology.
I was gonna say rhinestones or something.
Oh, that would have been a good guess. Should have spoke up earlier. All right, myology.
It's just mine, dude.
It's a study of things that are mine.
Yes.
It's the study of muscles.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Tribology.
Brian, go ahead.
Study of tribes.
It's a study of friction and lubrication.
What?
All right.
Why not just make
I never
like,
would have guessed that.
lubology, then?
That was the one I was like looking at this list. I'm like, okay, like I need like a really weird one that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Tribology. It's somehow lube. But I don't know where you get that.
Well, let's get a tribologist in here somehow to explain this to us, right?
All right. Orthopterology. Orthopterology.
Study of the mouth, I want to say.
No, it's got to be like of like your body.
It's
like
the study,
like orthopedics.
It's the study of grasshoppers and crickets.
Okay, never mind. Wow.
Study of grasshoppers and crickets. Yeah, that's a thing.
Perfect.
You can major in that at your local community college.
Yeah.
I'm an ornithologist.
Scatology.
Scatting like Scatman.
Yes, I'm going to go with that one as well.
Scatology. It's a study of feces.
Oh, okay.
It's the study of shit.
Scat. Yeah, scat. Okay, I got you.
Shitology. All right, and then last one here. This one relates to the movie anthropology.
I already know.
Brian,
yeah.
What is anthropology?
I guess I've been thinking about it, pondering. I did not look it up, and I'm going to have to go with it's something that has to do with written text and writing and things along that lines. That's my best guess.
Something. So you're like you're like something like calligraphy over here.
Sure, calligraphy. Yes.
You're kind of on the right track. It's a study of human societies and cultures and their development. So yeah, like writing, language. That's part of anthropology.
Yeah.
And that has to do with Midsommar, our movie today, because the students in the movie are studying anthropology and doing like a thesis. So that means they're masters or graduate students in anthropology at, I guess, one university, and they all attend.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect all degrees, but that sounds like one of the most boring things ever.
I don't know what you do with it. Like, you just,
I guess to be like a art history teacher of some sort.
You gotta study it. Like, you gotta get like a master's or doctorate, and like become sort of like a scientist or a teacher, professor,
and probably do like research and like study like the guy in the movie's doing. Like, you go and study other cultures. That'd be my guess.
Oh yeah.
And then you like write about it.
But I mean, I'm sure you can. It's like any liberal arts degree; you can use it for anything.
I'd become like a treasure hunter.
Yeah. Who are you, Nick Cage?
I did just watch National Treasure. Okay, you got me. I just watched National Treasure. Hate me if you want. I like that movie.
You should do the Nick Cage challenge. You can only watch Nick Cage movies for a month.
Nick Cage-a-thon?
That's the thing. Have people done this challenge before?
No, I had no idea. I just made it up because I liked how it came out, Nick Cage challenge.
Well, guess what, bro? I accept. I'm starting tonight with Con Air. Let's go.
All right, just lock yourself in a cage.
Yep.
Nick Cage-a-thon. All right, anyways. All right, Matt, I want to know, because you're the one who suggested that we should do this movie review.
Midsommer.
And I want to know why, because we really didn't discuss
I'm curious
it.
as well.
So, reason number one. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's like right when you log into Amazon Prime Video, it's like the first thing, it's like looking right at you. It's like, so anyone that has, I feel like Amazon Prime Video, you've probably clicked on this movie.
Yeah,
and
or seen it at least,
yeah,
or something.
Or saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, because what? It came out in 2019. It came out last year in July.
July.
So it's been out, it's been out for a year. Oh, no, not even a year.
6 months.
Not
7
I think
months.
like 9, 8. Math.
You said July.
Yeah, July. But so I figured it would be like relevant to do, and
Yeah, sure.
I also wanted to do it just because I just had heard some chatter about it. There's some chatter out there, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see it for myself. And this Ari Aster guy, he did the movie Hereditary, which I thought was interesting.
Yes.
It was a good movie.
I was a fan too.
It wasn't like scary, right? But it was just like, whoa, and I guess entertaining, all the way through. So I was thinking this would probably be the same.
All right, cool. That's valid. I like
And
it.
I knew it had something to do with a cult. I knew that going in. Cult.
Yeah, that's what, after seeing this one, I mean, I've only seen 2 Ari Aster films, but I feel like this man definitely has a little niche of writing movies about cults.
Yeah, he's got a thing for it.
He loves it, dude. he loves it, man.
There's got to be. I mean, he's not going to stop.
Such an interesting idea. You got a lot of different directions and paths. I feel like you can take something.
I suppose. I mean, I feel like it will get old, though, right? Like,
yeah, you can't keep doing cult movies.
Everyone gets tired of a one-trick pony eventually. Like,
yes.
How many cult movies can you really make before we're all just saying this is the same?
I will say, I'm pretty sure he's only done 2 feature films. Hereditary was his first one. This is the second.
Yeah, he's only like 32. He's relatively young. Also, Ari Aster, that's his real name. I thought it was a total fake name. I Googled it. I was like, yo, this is not real.
Alliteration, dude. I will say about his movies, though, I like how the endings are not your typical happy ending.
True.
Right? Which is like cool, adds like an element of realism maybe to it, which I find interesting.
His movies do have
and I appreciate
elements of extreme realism, and it's pretty frightening.
Yeah.
In terms of like picturing yourself in that situation.
All right, do we want to do the IMDb info on this guy?
Let's do it. I think I already said it came out in July last year, July 2019, day before the 4th of July. So yeah, this was like a America movie.
This is very patriotic, yeah.
So patriotic.
Nationalism everywhere.
No, well, it takes place in Sweden.
I know.
Right?
Yes, it does.
And it was actually filmed in like Hungary, which is, I don't know.
I mean, beautiful, beautiful setting.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it really is.
I'll read the log line. A couple travels to Sweden to visit a rural hometown's fabled Midsommer festival. What begins as an idyllic retreat quickly devolves into an increasingly violent and bizarre competition at the hands of a pagan cult. Pagan.
Yeah.
What does pagan mean?
Pagan?
Like old
it's
time?
It's like it's like an older thing. It's like
pilgrims.
Just
the Santa Maria.
Having religious beliefs that are not mainstream, essentially.
Strange.
Pretty much what it means.
Oh, pagan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Directed by Ari Aster, written by Ari Aster. So, Ari Aster all over this thing. And starring in this movie was Florence Pugh, Jack Reynor. It's P-U-G-H. P-U-G-H. I don't know. Pug.
Yeah.
Pooh.
Do it.
I think you had it.
Yeah, Pugh. Florence Pugh. Jack Reynor, Wilhelm Blomgren, William Jackson Harper, and Will Poulter.
Yeah, the only 2 people I recognized in this movie were Florence Pugh, if that's how you say her last name, and Will Poulter. That was it.
Yeah, Will Poulter. He's in that movie with like Jennifer Aniston when they're like driving an RV.
That was the only RV or no? It's not RV.
We're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
Okay.
Yes,
I never saw it.
Correct.
Yeah,
that was the only guy I recognized.
They called him Eyebrows in that movie, and that has just stuck with me forever. Like anytime I see him in something, I'm like, oh, there's Eyebrows.
There's like literally a picture floating around of him dressed as like Sid from Toy Story, and it's hilarious.
Dude, that's right. You're right. I have heard about that. He looks like
he does look like
such
Sid.
a great picture.
All right, back to Midsommar though. Get this. So like this movie website we use, the international is it Internet Movie Database. I always call it international. But they list plot keywords for every movie on here. So these are just keywords associated with the plot. The top 3 for Midsommar are cult, suicide, and sex ritual.
Wow.
So it's like, you read those 3 things, like, you know exactly what you're getting into with this movie.
Yeah, that sounds hardcore.
Not a children's movie.
No, I wouldn't say so.
They made this flick for $10 million.
Oh, okay.
And worldwide, it's grossed $42 million. So it's done well. It's done really well. All right, so trivia. Short and sweet here. I literally have one thing. I got one thing.
Oh, okay.
A lot of my other trivia is just kind of worked into like the plot because it just makes sense to kind of just sprinkle that in as we're kind of going over stuff. But this movie was originally given an NC-17 rating by the MPAA, the people who rate movies in America. And NC-17 stands for no children under the age of 17. So like normally you can bring a 15-year-old kid into a rated R movie if you're an adult and you have to pay for the ticket. Originally this movie was apparently so graphic with, I believe, 30 minutes extra of like the torturing and sex scenes in the original cut that it was rated NC-17. So Ari Aster, the director, ended up cutting the film down 30 minutes from 3 hours to 2.5 hours so that it could be in theaters under the rating of R.
Oh, dude, 3 hours. I mean, just since we're talking about it, what did you think about the length of this movie?
It was long. It dragged.
It was long. I mean, initially right when I hit play and I noticed that it said 2.5 hours, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm in for something here. But I don't know. I as we get into the story, I feel like it was easy to sit through because I enjoyed it.
I mean, I'd say the pace of the movie was fine. It just felt long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Things progressed like in a manner that you'd expect. It just took too long.
Yeah. Okay, before we get into the plot of the craziness that is Midsommar, I got some questions for you guys about the general elements of the film, okay?
Questions? Okay, cool.
What did you think of Ari Aster's directing overall?
It was good. I mean, the guy...
I liked it, yeah.
Cinematographerly? No, that's not right. Cinematographerly.
Just definitely not a word. We know what you're saying.
His cinematic qualities.
The cinematography. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Like, everything was just really artsy and, like, visually pleasing. Like, everything... Like, there was a lot of symmetry in the frames.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was enjoyable to watch that stuff.
I know, Bryan, you said something earlier, your description of just the scenes itself.
Yeah, like just how Matt was saying, like, visually appealing. Like, when you get to, like, the settlement, like, just the architecture and structures of the buildings, the colors that he uses, everything just, like, complemented well, like, his color palettes and everything. And the one, like, I guess, director shot that really pointed out was, like, their drive in. Right. He, like, inverted and, like, turned things upside down. I thought that was really interesting.
I thought
I
that
was...
was...
seen anything like that in a while.
I thought it was just over the top. It's like, okay, the world's upside down, and then
he did it for a while.
It just dragged. And then they did a whole shot where it like did a whole 180, and you like looked up at the sky for a second, and then it went back down to the road. I was like, why you're giving me like the spins, Ari Aster? What is the point of this?
I guess just as like a continuation shot, wasn't like cut or anything, you know. It was just like, yo, we got the technology to do this now.
Yeah,
What's up?
How did they even do it? Was a guy just like strapped into the top of the car with a camera, and they're like, okay, just slowly move your arm.
Or a drone or something.
And then roll over.
Chopper. I don't know.
It was probably a machine. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah. I mean, another thing that he did that I thought was cool was when they were all like tripping balls on the shrooms.
Yeah, he handled that well.
Yeah.
And then like the background was like moving as if you were like having a trip with the characters.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. You've seen it in movies before, but I liked how he added that in this one.
Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, and what about his transitions? Like in the beginning of the film, right? You do that transition. He likes these really long shots where he's either zooming in very closely or zooming out slowly. I mean,
yeah. And there's like glaring music that doesn't really change playing in the background.
Yeah, like in the opening scene where they transition to the opening credits, it's like this very slow zoom out the window and like in this snowy sequence. Right? That was kind of cool. And I know you mentioned the size of the text kind of bothered you.
Yeah. That was the smallest title card I've ever seen. I had to like squint. I was like, what's this movie called? Oh, yeah, Midsommer. I was like, man.
Yeah, it was hard to like, it was kind of like the legibility and all that, like, because it was like snowing and sleeting, whatever it was.
Yeah, and
it was tough.
It was the smallest text that they could have chosen.
Yeah.
Like, I needed my binoculars to read the title.
The next question I have is, what about the sets and costume design? I know you already mentioned like some of the buildings and the architecture and stuff like that, but we didn't really talk about the costumes that they were wearing.
I mean, yeah, it definitely. I like the whites and like the blues that they had a part of it, and it's like once you reveal that it is a cult, that they all match and wear the same thing.
Yeah, very.
It just seemed kind of like lush and like, oh, we're so open arms. It kind of reminded me of them being kind of like hippie-ish.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, like especially with their ties of like with nature and stuff.
Really pilgrimy, really hippie, really pagan.
A lot of drugs.
Drugs everywhere.
Psychedelics.
Right.
Another thing I wanted to mention was none of. I think like except for the beginning where this is like a folk horror film apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
None of like the disturbing things happen at night. It's always like during the day,
it's
which
always
you like
daytime.
never see. You know,
I thought
which
it was
is interesting.
Yeah, they didn't know like when days would pass, and it never really did get nighttime though.
Yeah, I mean, people would just like go to bed or whatever, but yeah, most of the film takes place during the day, and you don't really see that much. Most of the scary stuff takes place at night.
Yeah, you'd think so in a horror film. Nighttime is scarier than daytime.
Yeah. We kind of already talked about this a little bit too with some of his shots, Matt, where you saying some of them were way too long, but how did you think the pacing of the film was? And then I'm talking both shots and just story. Like, how do you think the story evolved at a good pace, or was it kind of slow?
Yeah, I think I already said this. I thought the story was paced fine. It just took too long. Like I just wish things were sped up. That's my only take on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we already said that, like 2.5 hours. I agree, though, with you. Like, some of the shots just went on for way too long. The guy loves to zoom in and out and just do it for way too long.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the characters? How did you feel about them? And we can kind of, like, get into supporting reasons if you like them or don't like them later on, but just right now, yes or no, and kind of speak vaguely about why you feel.
I want to start with the friend group because it's like, at the beginning, they seem like they're boys, but then once they get to this place, like, they're not even friends. Like, it seems like none of them are even close. They don't care when a few of them start disappearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I did not buy that friendship or, like, even some of the dialogue between them at all. Like, especially because no one, even in this movie, brought up the fact that they were at a cult. That word, the C word, was never even mentioned.
No. I don't think it was. You're right.
And the girl, like, she was just, vulnerable. Her whole life just completely up in flames.
Yeah.
And she just was totally seated on her boyfriend who wanted, like, nothing to do with her, which is sad.
Yes. I agree. Absolutely.
I thought that character study was interesting because you're thrown in a situation where you want to end a relationship, but then you can't. Because you're a dick if you do.
Oh, after her family dies?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how can you just be like, hey, you just lost everyone that you love, and now I'm leaving.
Now I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I like how he set that up because it creates like a conflict there.
It's a very interesting relationship study. Yeah.
So Bryan, did you like the cult people? What did you think about them?
I mean, I guess as like a character relationship, when them being a cult as a whole, yes. I mean, they weirded me out, but at points it was just like, how these people suck. Like they're annoying. They're being real weird. Like if I was part of like the friend group that was there, like I would want to be out of there after the first meal that they fed me.
Yeah,
or where I was gonna sleep that night in this weird cot.
Yeah, and the babies are all crying next to you. It's like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
But as like a story and like movie, I feel like they pulled it up to like keep it weird and like being like, who are these people and what are they doing?
I thought it was totally obvious what they were doing. Like, especially when the first guy disappeared. It's like, okay, he's dead. Like, they just killed him after he was upset with seeing the suicides.
Right.
Which is like, yeah, anyone would be.
I think my main issue with the characters were they just made really stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And it was just hard for me to like them.
For example, tripping balls for like the second time after your friends are missing. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Here, drink this. I don't know what's in it, but I guess I'll drink it. Exactly. Yeah.
I do like. I like the idea of how this cult like planted foreign exchange students to go to different countries and then befriend people in those countries and bring them back.
Yeah, unreal.
That's cool. Like that's really scary to think about.
Hey, how do they pay for college? College is expensive.
Well,
how are these pagans? They don't have any money. Plot hole. Boom. This whole movie exposed.
I don't know, man. They got homeschooled and they got really good grades.
They got scholarships.
A pagan scholarship.
Every time I think of the word scholarship, I just think of
Danny McBride.
Yes, in Pineapple Express.
Yes.
Did you like the acting? Think it was convincing?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I think the acting was good overall. What about the special effects?
Oh, huge fan. Practical effects for the win.
Yeah, man, there was some heads getting bashed.
The special effects were really good in this. I enjoyed it a lot.
It was comical though, in a way. Like when the one old guy jumps off the cliff and then he's just getting beat in the head with the hammer by like multiple people. Like it was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was definitely like weird and disturbing, but it was kind of funny. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know why, but
I feel like I laughed just because I was like, why are these people still here? Like, what are they doing? Like,
that's why.
Like after that, you want to be out of there.
I was joking earlier when I was watching it, Bryan, to Drew. I was like, okay, like I just saw someone commit suicide and get their head bashed in. Hey, thank you so much for inviting me here. You know, dinner was great last night. Had a great time. This has been awesome. I need to go.
Yeah, seriously.
Just be like really like gracious for their hospitality.
And then get out.
And then just get the fuck out of there. Obviously, they wouldn't let you, though. You'd have to like sneak out probably.
Yeah. All right, well, let's attempt to run through the plot here because there's a lot going on. We identified like the main plot points here. We're going to have like a little discussion here because I don't know. This movie just gets so weird, and it's kind of hard to talk about. Anyways, let's talk about it here. Beginning, we got college student Danny, who's Florence Pugh. She's traumatized after her sister Terry kills herself and their parents by filling their home with carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
What did you feel about that scene?
I mean, they really opened this movie up with a bang, man. Like, after I saw this, it's really messed up to see, because they, like, show you like, how, like, premeditated killing herself and her parents was. You know, like, tying tubes to the exhaust pipes, flooding it through the house, building her own gas mask to suffocate her own self.
Right.
It was messed
Disgusting.
up, man.
Yeah,
Really messed up.
graphic realism, though, to a point of even unrealism, because it's like, why would someone go through all that effort and then shove a mask in their face?
Yeah.
It's really over the top. But yeah, it felt real, and man, was it horrible.
Yeah, they really make you feel horrible for Danny right in the beginning.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that's something that Aster's good at. And also in these opening scenes, we meet Danny's boyfriend, Christian, which is very conveniently named, I would think. And he's a cultural anthropology graduate student. So that's why we're talking about anthropology in the beginning.
Right, and so are his friends. They're all studying anthropology, or at least you can assume so.
So we meet the friends too. But then we fast forward to the following summer, where Danny learns that Christian and his friends, Mark and Josh, have been invited by their Swedish friend, Pell or Pelly, I don't know, we'll call him Pell, to attend a Midsommer celebration at Pell's ancestral commune in Sweden.
Ancestral commune, okay. Like, no one's like, okay, wait, you grew up in a commune? And, like, they're not asking questions to figure out, wait, Pell, you're from a cult. No one pinpoints that. It's so ridiculous.
And he also explains that this iteration of the celebration they're doing only occurs every 90 years.
Cult.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's a long time. I thought they were doing this, like, yearly.
Here's a little nugget I found by researching this. So they sacrifice 9 people right at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each life 10 years of good crops.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense now that you say that.
Flipping pagans.
So what, for 90 years, they're just good pagans?
Yeah.
So if you visited them on the 89th year, you'd be in warm hearts?
They would not kill you. No. Crazy.
Wow.
You know, some people sit there and say every 17 years the cicadas come out, and then you got pagan cults saying every 90 years we're about to sacrifice 9 people.
Yep. And a bear. Don't forget about the bear.
Oh yeah, the bears. How could I forget about that?
We care about bears.
So yeah, ultimately all of them decide they're going to go to Sweden. So they fly on a plane, and they meet like 2 other British characters, Simon and Connie, who were invited by Pell's communal brother. And this is the psychedelic mushroom scene, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
Would you guys do some shrooms with some people you just met in a foreign area you've never been to?
Let me think. No. Absolutely not.
Even though how beautiful the scenery and like peaceful it is.
I don't know. To be honest, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that
Okay.
guy.
All right.
Even after me and
right.
Drew and our parents were just murdered or like killed, you would then do it? There's no way you'd have a bad trip,
you
right?
put me in her shoes. What if I'm like Mark?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, then I'd do it.
I'm just saying, like, for the girl to do it at that point, I was like, what are you thinking?
Very true.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
very true.
Like,
yeah.
it's only a matter of time before you think about that, and then your whole world is shattered because you're
Yes.
tripping balls and you're in, like, the worst place. Like, that's shit you don't come back from.
No, dude, you have like a breakdown.
Yeah.
So after we have this whole shroom sequence, they go into the village, check it out, and I mean, at first hand, it looks like a very peaceful place. It's very well kept.
Everyone's in
wearing
robes,
white.
man. Cult.
Everyone's having a great
Exactly.
time.
Cult.
That's what I felt like. You walk into this population of like 35 people all wearing the same thing.
Yeah, and you're instantly
Red flag.
yeah, and you're looking at your friend like, you used to live here like for 18 years, and then you went to college. Why the hell did you come back?
Yeah,
You
right.
idiot.
That
Like,
too.
what is this place? You realize there's a game on Sunday? Like, where are we going to watch the game, man? What's going on here?
Yeah, these people are living like thousands of years back.
Yeah. And I guess if you're an anthropology student, that's something
You want to see
you're
that.
interested in.
I guess
Yeah.
so. True.
You're interested.
It's true.
I suppose. Well, you better be. You're paying for that damn degree. You better be interested.
But I'd say they don't get like the first shred of like actual evidence of when they know that they're experiencing some weird stuff is when we hit the cliff scene.
And my question is, so you remember in the night before, they're in the bunk beds or whatever, and the one guy says, oh, it's this. It's like some word. And then the one guy who's in the crew, he knows what it is, but he won't tell them. Do you think he knew what was going to happen?
I don't know.
The suicides? Or was he shocked by that as well?
I really don't know.
I meant to look it up when watching the movie, but I'm assuming, yes, he knew that it was going to be a sacrifice.
Why the hell wouldn't he tell, hey,
for his thesis,
Danny,
bro. He wanted a thesis to himself.
Hey, you probably shouldn't watch this because it's going to be traumatizing for you. Or, that should come with a warning label attached to it, don't you think?
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's crazy.
So during this cliff scene, we see these two elders, because apparently in the cult, when you hit the age of 72, you're supposed to leap from a cliff top to your death.
Yep. And if you don't die, we'll just fucking kill you with a hammer. No big deal.
Yeah. And that's when we were saying some of the special effects here are pretty awesome, because there's just like a head explosion off a rock. I mean, yeah, it's gruesome. It sounds gruesome.
It's
but
crazy.
I mean, artistically and how they managed to pull it off, it's pretty amazing how it looks.
Pretty amazing.
You just described someone's head being bashed in.
I know. I said it was gruesome,
No,
but I mean,
it is though.
He said artistically, and that's
You're pulling off an effect. Yeah, you're pulling it off.
yeah, it's just an illusion.
It's just shock value. I mean, it's a movie.
Yeah.
72 though. I feel like 72. Like I want to still be playing golf at 72. I don't want to die.
Sure. But I thought this part was funny, at least from the perspective of the cult, because of course everybody who's come to the cult, which is like, I don't know, maybe like, what is it, 6 people or whatever it is?
Yeah.
They're all like, what is going on? What the hell is this? Why would you bring us here? We need to leave right now.
No,
At least
it's just one guy.
the British dude, yeah.
The British guy loses his shit. And
Well-
instantly I'm like, you're dead.
Well, it's just funny because one of the cult elders like explains like, "Oh, this is perfectly normal. And we all do this. We all look forward to do this. We enjoy it. This is what happens when we're 72. We just throw ourselves off a cliff and die.
That's what they believe.
No
though.
big deal."
That's what they do. They've been doing it for years.
Cult. No one has said it yet.
Which
Jen,
is, yeah.
This is the point where you're like, yes, that's great. I respect that. Dinner was
Yes.
great last night. You look really beautiful, by the way. I like that dress. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take I'm gonna take a horse. I'm gonna take the car, and I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is when like stuff starts to, and you could say this about any movie, but like the characters just start to really piss you off as an audience member.
because they don't leave. But that's a lot of horror films.
Yeah.
You're like questioning what are you doing?
Right.
Why would you do that? It's a movie.
But the characters decide to stay, and in addition to that, Pell, the Swedish guy, convinces them to stay, and because Midsommer traditions are the subject of Josh's thesis, he's like, "We need to stay. This is for my thesis. It's going to be a breakthrough."
Right.
Yada,
that was the
yada,
whole
yada.
reason they wanted to go. That's how Pell
Okay.
kind of like lured them in, I believe.
Probably, yeah. And then as it progresses, we learn that like Simon and Connie decide to leave, but Connie finds out when she's gathering her things that that she's been told that Simon's already left, and she's like, "No, he would never do that."
Yeah, because it would make no sense for
Right.
your fiance to just leave you from a random community in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
She instantly knows something's not right, and you could tell from that scene that she was freaking out.
So he got offed. It was pretty obvious that he got offed, and then apparently you can like hear her scream like
Yeah.
randomly. I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either. Yeah, because
I didn't hear it either.
you never see her again.
It must
for that
it
one
must have
scene.
been like really subtle.
Probably.
Yeah.
She disappeared. It was very much implied that she was dead.
Yeah.
And did any of the other characters notice or bother or care? No.
No.
So
They weren't
at
affected
this
by it.
point, we have 4 of 9 sacrifices.
Yeah.
Do the elders count as 2 sacrifices?
Yes, they
Oh,
do.
they did? Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Okay.
Man, if only they just had some more elderly people amongst the crowd, they could have just all happily walked off cliffs and no one would have had to get killed. So, yeah, we just mentioned Simon, right? Simon and Connie, the 2 British people, the couple.
Yeah, right.
Well, later in the movie, you see that, like, what's his name again?
Simon?
Christian.
Oh,
Christian's all
Christian.
drugged out after his the whole sex scene, right? Yeah, we'll get there. And so he finds Simon, and he's like, like raised, hanging from the ceiling. He looks like he's like some kind of bird thing where, well, they took his lungs and they made it into like wings, basically. And that's what we were looking at in the film, and that's based on like an actual Viking ritualized execution method called blood. It's called Blood Eagle.
Oh man.
Yeah, like that is some visceral, just awful shit.
It looked like a reverse what's that called when someone dies they cut you open?
Oh yeah.
I can't think of it right now. But you know what I'm talking
I
about.
don't know either.
It's all
But,
good.
Yeah,
Never.
no, that's like a dead body.
Like the
being
operation,
taken
but
apart.
whatever.
But either way, it was really gross, and apparently you're supposed to be still alive when they do that to you too, and that's why his like lungs were moving,
like wings.
Yeah. Oh god.
It was nasty, dude. And then he had like
Eagle.
flowers in his eyes.
Yeah,
like,
that was weird.
Asphyxiated.
That's a shitty way to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How did Ari Aster find that? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, but then we got the thesis battle.
Yeah.
The thesis battle.
The battle of the anthropologists and their theses. Thesi.
Because right?
Theses. Thesi. I don't know.
I don't know either. Theses.
Feces.
Theses.
Pieces.
Yeah. So we got the battle of the thesis because, because Josh was the one saying that he wanted to do his thesis on the community, and then Christian's like, yo, I'm going to do it as well. So they're like battling to find more information over each other. So Josh attempts to solicit more information on the commune's ancient runic practices, which are based on paintings made by a deformed member, apparently conceived through incest, whom they consider an oracle.
Yeah, very, a child, a product of incest, deformed, cognitively impaired, and for some reason they believe that it would make a more clear oracle.
I mean, they didn't really like show that person at all.
No, very strange. Very limited screen time, and it was like
not
weird.
Really explained.
It didn't really make any sense.
No,
yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, and I mean, by this point, like this is when people just start dying, just start getting rid of people. So there's this one part where Mark, this is the eyebrows, Will Poulter,
right?
He like unwittingly urinates on an ancestral tree that's just on the grounds, and that pisses off the cult. So he's lured away by a female member who he previously mentioned was attractive. So you don't get to see what happens to him.
No, but right when he's lured away, it's just like
it's
so
like
obvious,
oh yeah, bye.
Because the other two British people are already missing.
Yes.
So it's like okay, he's gone. He's a guy.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, you get to see the aftermath. Well, not really, because later that night, Josh, who is seeking more information to include in his thesis, he sneaks into a temple to photograph the cult's sacred ruin text, even though he'd been told that it was forbidden.
Yeah, he broke the rules.
Yeah, rule breaker. And this is where he's distracted by some partially nude man, and apparently this is some guy that's like wearing Mark's skin.
Yeah, he's wearing his buddy's face.
Very weird, yeah.
I didn't.
Part really was kind of scaring me.
It was scary, but I didn't really understand that was like his skinned face.
Yeah, because it looked like the guy was just wearing some weird mask, and it didn't really look like the guy on Mark at all.
I thought it was Simon. I thought it was Simon's skinned face. Kind of looked like him at first.
Okay, yeah.
It's supposed to be Mark.
But he does call out Mark. Josh does call out Mark.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the film.
And the guy that was wearing his friend's skin was Ulf, the guy who got really pissed off when he peed on the tree.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
Right.
That would make sense, yeah.
And I think the guy even says in the movie, he's like, he's going to kill me. And
he does. Yeah, foreshadow.
And he killed him. And then wore his face.
Yeah.
While someone else killed his friend. And you know who killed his friend?
Who, Josh?
Josh.
Who?
Apparently it was Pell, their friend.
What?
Yeah. According to Ari Aster, the director, it was Pell that bludgeoned Josh to death.
Huh.
Yeah. His own friend.
Why? Just because like he told him not to go in there?
Yeah, because he said don't take pictures of it. Like someone in the commune said don't take pictures.
Oh, he's like discreetly.
And they caught him. But it's like they must have been like waiting for him to sneak in there.
Yeah.
Or they just have like guards out at night. I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
He got caught.
But let's talk about the end, because this is when, if you thought that was crazy, this is when stuff gets way crazier.
Oh, yeah, this is when it gets off the rails.
So the next day, Danny is, she takes more psychedelic drugs. I don't know why.
Not willingly.
People just keep doing this.
She did not do it willingly, because remember, she looked at her hand and noticed that she was tripping.
So whatever, just maybe it was in her drink or food or something.
Right.
And she participates in a dancing competition, and she wins, and she's crowned the May Queen.
Yeah, it was like some cult version of musical chairs. I mean,
it was pretty strange.
That was essentially the idea behind it.
They're wearing like these flower, like just a bunch of flowers and
dresses
garments and stuff.
Yeah, I think they were all tripping balls too.
Well, so was Christian.
Oh yeah, but I mean, he had the option though.
And he was like, yeah.
Because his girl Danny, she was drugged, I think, without her knowledge, and then Christian, as he's watching this dancing ceremony go on, as his girlfriend's just clearly tripping balls out there, he then decides to drink another like acid drink, even after like he questions it, and then the woman's like, "Oh no, it's acid, all right." Like, you know, vaguely she like describes it.
Yeah.
And he drinks it. It's like, dude, why would you do that? You're missing 2 friends. You're missing 2 other people that were there with you at the start. Now is not the time to trip balls.
You wouldn't, dude?
Absolutely not.
No.
See, I would at the beginning, but now I wouldn't.
I'd take a beer. I'd be like, yeah, I'll sip on a beer. Like, I don't want this acid.
Well, then he participates in the sex right.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
this is when
gets
the
his
movie
hormones
just
going.
got weird.
It got really weird.
So, Brian, what when this scene was going on, you said you were watching this by yourself, right? And then what happened?
Yeah, throughout the whole film, whatever, how long it is, hour and a half, until that scene approaches. Right when that scene was in full session, one of my roommates comes in.
Oh my gosh, dude!
What
It's
did
such
he
an.
do?
I thought I was watching some
Yeah,
weird porno or something.
I was taking notes on my phone during it, and I literally wrote on my phone, like, at this point, I was like, I am watching porn. Like, please no one walk in. Because there's just
It's a
bunch
very
of-
weird scene.
There's all kinds of naked people. There's all kinds of missionary going on. And it was uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie.
It's very uncomfortable. It was a very weird scene.
Yeah, especially when all of them are, like, moaning together
And
at the same time.
he just, like, did it. He was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, he was on drugs, but, like,
Still.
I feel like that would make you not want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, oh, look at all these people. Like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Right? So basically, he has sex with a woman, impregnates one of the cultists.
Yeah, she was like the red-haired girl that like was going after him the whole time. She was doing some like witch shit, some witchcraft.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, she put her pubic hair in his like croissant.
Oh, God.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And apparently in that scene too, his drink was a little more red compared to everyone else's lemonade because her like
I did notice that.
her
Yeah, I
what do
saw
you
it,
call
too.
it? Menstrual blood was
Menstrual
in
blood,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks,
well.
Ari Aster. Thank you.
Just, you got to get those details. They're just very necessary.
I guess it is. I mean, I'll give the guy that. His films are very detailed. They're very layered. I guess, which is cool. That's why. I mean, I don't know
very
if we're going
layered.
to talk about reviews at all, but critics gave this, I think, a pretty good review.
Yeah, they did.
Whereas like normal
Yes.
people like ourselves are not as high on it.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the details, but I mean, it's just very out there.
Right.
But anyways, so while Christian is doing the deed, I
Yes.
guess we'll call it that.
His coerced coitus.
Sure.
Yes.
Danny, his girlfriend, sees him doing this, and she
Right.
has like a panic attack. And then do you remember that scene where like all the girls around him are like they're like mimicking
Weird.
her like
Yes.
like her wails
They're like
and stuff.
crying with her. It was very
Is that
weird.
because she's the queen and they'll just follow her?
I think it's just because
That's like-
she's one of the commune. It's like one person's upset, we're all upset.
They're like one of us.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Toy Story.
And then basically, like after Christian does his thing, he's like, I got to get out of here. So he starts running around the place naked, and this is when he runs through the funhouse because he finds Josh's buried leg, like just sticking like out of the dirt,
Yeah.
and like if it was a plant or something.
Yeah, that was
and then
weird.
he finds Simon the British guy, which we already said earlier, like
In the Viking pose.
yeah,
yes.
the blood eagle thingy.
Blood Eagle.
And then Christian is like paralyzed by an elder with some sort of like dust. I don't know, some dust paralysis.
Yeah.
Magic dust.
Yeah, magic dust. I don't know. He like blew it in his face and he went down. But apparently he was like supposed to run out of his coerced coitus, that whole sex scene, in like a robe of some kind that was in the script.
Yeah.
And the actor himself like offered just to go totally nude because he said he watched the older movie The Last House on the Left from 1972. And I guess
Oh,
in
yeah.
that movie,
That movie's
there's
crazy.
There's a naked woman running out of a house, scared out of her mind, right? Like totally vulnerable. And he's like, yeah, like it's always chicks in movies doing that. Like I'll fucking do it. And
Okay.
I'll be honest, like I think it's the first time I've ever seen a full male penis in a movie.
Wait, have you not watched Game of Thrones? I guess that's not a movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I've
some-
never seen a few episodes of that.
There's some schlongs out there in GOT.
Well, I'm glad
GOT.
that you mentioned that he had like he mentioned a film
Yeah.
that made him do this. I thought he was just like, nah, I just want to be naked, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just going. He was going for workplace equality. He was going above and beyond as an
Yeah.
actor.
Okay.
And then we got this is when the movie wraps up here because the cult gathers together with the paralyzed Christian and they explain to Danny that to purge the commune of its evil, 9 human sacrifices, like we said earlier, must be offered. And they break it down to where the first 4 victims are outsiders, so Josh, Mark, Connie, and Simon, who are lured by the Swedish guys who act as like foreign exchange students, whatever they are. They go to their countries and just lure people back. And then the next 4 victims are cult members, 2 sacrificed elders, and 2 volunteers.
Yeah, volunteer. I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, as tribute.
That's tribute.
I mean, it only happens every 90 years. You got to be a participant, right?
Or you could just live on until you're 72 and then just do like a triple Lindy off the cliff into the rocks.
Triple Lindy. Oh, man. And Danny is left...
Belly flop.
God. Danny's left with an ultimatum as May Queen because she gets to choose the 9th and final victim, and that's either Christian, her boyfriend, or a villager.
Right, and she just watched Christian cheat on her, defy her, essentially.
Right.
And they were already having relationship problems as is. He was being pretty negligent of her. He was ignoring her, not being there for her.
Correct.
So who does she choose?
Yeah.
Oh,
boyfriend.
good old Christian.
Yes.
I mean, he was already like paralyzed though.
Poor little lamb.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was like permanently or like
Because
temporarily.
of the drugs?
I have no idea.
Because he couldn't even speak. I thought that was odd.
Yeah. So he's paralyzed. She chooses him. They stuff him into like a disemboweled bear suit.
Yeah, the poor bear.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
They had a whole bear. Like, they had to bring one on set, and it got, like, literally 2 seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
And then they had to, like, make a bear.
Yeah, Build-A-Bear Workshop, you know?
They went to Build-A-Bear Workshop and got a life-size bear filled with intestines.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
So they throw him in the bear suit, and then all of these, like... So the people who are dead, and then some of them were, like, kind of like a nature, like, person hybrid. They had, like,
weird.
sticks out of their mouths and stuff. It was really weird.
Yeah, it's like, did the children
kinda
do that?
scary.
Was it like arts and crafts time?
They were like-
Okay, let's
they, like, took
decorate the
the-
dead body.
Yeah. It was like a snowman. If you were to, like, build a snowman out of a person, essentially.
Yeah.
Build a bear.
It was like taxidermy.
Build a dead body.
Taxidermy.
No way.
Yeah, it was. They were like really pristine and stuff. So, anyways, they're all thrown in this like temple that no one's allowed to go into. They're placed in these specific places, and then they just set the place on fire. So,
Yeah.
and while there's like 3 people who are alive, 2 cultists and Christian, they're all alive, and they just get burned alive.
Burned alive, yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of extreme, you know. I mean, that was a nice piece of architecture. It was a nice... the structurally, it looked very sound, and they just burned it down to the ground. But then again, you know, they did have 90 years to build it.
At first, when Danny's watching, she's like pretty terrified about it, and then all of a sudden she just like starts to smile. So it looks like she's staying there.
Yeah, pretty crazy ending.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's because her family, right? We talked about this earlier.
Yeah,
Maybe not on air, but
Family's all gone.
yeah. So she feels like needed there,
Or she just snapped.
this
Welcome,
family supplement.
honestly.
Yeah, or snap that too. I mean, probably
The
all of them.
hallucinogens got to her.
I feel like, you know, maybe she's fine for a couple days, but then that has to come back and hit you like, wait, I just came here with like friends, and now they're all dead, and now I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you just leave eventually? You'd hope so. Please leave, Danny.
I think she's staying, man.
May Queen. Yeah, one last thing, though, before we get to final thoughts. I just want to say that, like, Ari Aster, he's only made 2 feature films like this, I guess, so far, but he definitely has a director's trademark. We already mentioned that he likes cults. I mean, those were evident in both of his films so far. Cults.
Very evident.
You think he likes the band Cults?
I don't know. Or Blue Oyster Cult?
Yeah, Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, probably.
Is he an Indianapolis Colt fan?
Oh, dude.
Oh, wow, that's pretty
that was a
good.
good one. That was a
Nice,
good one.
dude.
All right. But, hey, he likes cults. He also likes gruesome shots of bashed-in faces, right? Those
Yep,
are,
yep.
there's some bashed-in faces in both his movies, and there's also old
true.
people in the nude.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Just some
Oh, yeah.
just some saggy old people. Yeah. Can't unsee that. And there's explorations of grief and relationships in both of his movies, which I appreciate because I like his extreme realism. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
at times maybe a little bit too extreme.
for sure.
Yeah, no, I'll just start off, I guess, with my final thoughts.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, that worked, yeah.
Because I kind of did, like, cover a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think this movie is, like, a 2-star. I'd give it, like, it was interesting. It was just kind of dragged, and the characters, yeah, their decision-making was just kind of annoying. Because you would just immediately be like, okay, I don't belong here.
Sure.
This is a cult. I need to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So, yeah, 2 stars.
Hit it, Brian.
I'll give this one a 3. I just
Okay.
feel like,
Ooh,
I guess Ari Aster, I've liked Hereditary and Midsommer now, so I just appreciate him, like, behind the camera, his attention to detail.
Yeah.
I guess originality, too, I want to say, because I feel like I haven't really seen stuff like this in the past. So, I mean, I'll be excited for a new Ari Aster film that's coming out soon, I hope.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably like I'm between 2 or 3, probably 2.5. I mean, this movie is just really weird. Like, I think even when I saw Hereditary for the first time, I wasn't really feeling it. And then I watched it a second time, and I guess I like appreciated it a little more. But this movie, I don't think I enjoyed as much as Hereditary, I would say. I just didn't really think much of the overall story here because it was just way too out there. And, I mean, I do like out there. I like weird stuff, but I think this was just like way too weird, maybe.
Yeah, how did Pell pay for college? Still, plot hole, I'm telling you. How did he meet
that's what threw me off. He's exactly.
Pagan. He's pagan. He doesn't have money.
But I do think what Ari Aster excels at is his directing, because even though this movie is quite disturbing at times, his shots are pretty gorgeous.
Yes.
And I also think he's good at creating these strange relationships between people, making you feel awful for characters at times, like especially right in the beginning, and making you think what the hell is going on. I mean, that I thought that a lot during this and in Hereditary.
Yeah, this is a movie where like you're watching it in theaters maybe, and you're like leaning over to the person next to you being like, yo, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What does this have to do with anything? Or what's going to happen? Because you literally have no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
this guy keeps you guessing.
There's definitely an allure to that. And I think another thing that we mentioned earlier is like there's just so many layers, right, to some of his movies. Well, I mean, to these two movies. That maybe people won't notice, or as you watch it again, you'll notice them.
There's like a million things that are like foreshadowed in this movie.
Maybe like I feel like these movies like of his, I feel like you just have to watch them a couple times and they'll just grow on you. Maybe I don't know.
Well,
I mean, sometimes
2.5 hours. I can't just be throwing 2.5 hours of my time out there.
Well, I mean, that's if you ever
Willy-nilly.
watch it again. I mean, will I watch this movie again? I don't know. Probably not.
You never know.
Maybe.
Never know, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I will. Not like personal use, but maybe someone that I know will be like, oh, I've never seen this, and I'll recommend it.
Yeah, and just be like, hey, cults, sex scenes, and lots of screaming.
Yeah.
And psychedelics.
And not great characters.
Can I test you guys' memory?
What?
Tribology.
The study of crickets.
Study of lubrication.
Oh, yeah.
Not crickets. Lubrication.
We're going to be tribologists. No matter what platform you're using to listen to us, I want it to be known that we're available on iTunes, YouTube, and Spreaker. You can also find us on Instagram at screenplay_junkie. If you like our content, please be sure to follow our channels so you can stay in the loop with new episodes and quick movie reviews. Feel free to give us a rating or drop us a comment on any of these mediums. Any feedback or interaction is greatly appreciated. Got any scripts you think we should read or movies we should review? Shoot us a message on our Instagram or email us at screenplayjunkie.show@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. On the next episode, we'll be comparing Philip K. Dick's 1966 short story, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, to its 1990 film version, Total Recall, that stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. Thank you for listening. We hope you can join us next time.